It's Halloween, everyone. So, depending on your age, you might have some kids heading out, or for whatever reason, if you're watching this, you might be heading out to go trick or treating. I really hope you're not. I use way too many spicy words in order for it to, qualify as all ages content. But I want you to make sure. That your Halloween candy is perfectly fine and perfectly safe, because there's a super common chemical that we used to hear about. Pins being put in little candy bars, and you never want to accept anything that is homemade because you don't know what's in there, because the super common chemical was just linked to 356,238 deaths. Yeah, that's pretty common. That's also a lot of people. And you almost certainly have it in your home. So, oh no, make sure everything is safe, individually wrapped, and also not too clean. A shocking new study suggests that common chemicals found in a wide range of everyday plastic products may have contributed to 356,238 heart disease deaths worldwide in just 1 year. I beg your pardon? That's an awfully effective chemical. One finding adds that the vast body of evidence that these chemicals present a tremendous danger to human health, said Sarah Hyman, Bachelor of Science, lead study author, and the associate research scientist at NYU Grossman School of Medicine. Phthalates. Okay, we talked about these, not that long ago. Okay, are chemicals lurking in everything from cosmetics and personal care products to building materials and cleaning supplies. I think it had something to do with fertility. I'm not entirely sure, but yes, for decades, studies have shown that when these sneaking substances break down into tiny particles and make their way into our bodies, they can increase the risk of serious health issues ranging from obesity and diabetes to fertility problems and cancer. Phthalates have also been shown to potentially interfere with children's brain development. Maybe it was something to do with autism. I can't remember. Now, leading to learning difficulties as well as attention and behavioral disorders. Definitely that. Now, the new study, led by researchers at NYU Langone Health, put a spotlight on one especially common phthalate, di-2-ethylhexyl, DEHP. There we go, for short. This chemical is used to make food containers, medical equipment, and other plastic goods softer and more flexible. It is also commonly used in perfumes, air fresheners, and other fragrances that make scents stick around longer. Exposure has been shown in other studies to prompt an overactive immune response, inflammation in the heart's arteries, which over time is associated with an increased risk of heart attack and stroke, Hyman told the Post. Our analysis quantifies this relationship globally to illustrate the risks of exposure to these chemicals. Researchers sifted through health and environmental data and dozens of surveys on DEHP exposure across 200 countries and territories. They also analyzed mortality stats at the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation, a U.S.-based research group that tracks global public health trends. Well, yeah, when you see 300,000 people and linked to a specific chemical, I would imagine that would constitute as a trend. The findings were stark. DEHP exposure contributed to more than 13% of all heart disease deaths worldwide in 2018 among people aged 55 through 64. As well as the price tag, researchers estimate the economic toll of these deaths was about $510 billion, with some projections climbing as high as $3.74 trillion. Holy Christ. Well, the chemicals are used extensively around the globe. The study found the regions like the Middle East, East Asia, and the Pacific were the hardest hit, accounting for about 3/4 of total deaths, up to 75%. That's pretty stark. India had the highest death toll at 103,587 fatalities, followed by China and Indonesia. Well, how much fecal matter was also present in these people that ended up getting a heart attack? One possible explanation, the author said, is that these countries experience higher rates of exposure to these chemicals, possibly due to a boom in plastic production paired with fewer manufacturing restrictions than in other regions. Yeah, that ends up totally making sense. Hyman noted that the study wasn't designed to prove DEHP alone caused heart disease, but the analysis didn't factor in other phthalates or deaths outside the 55 to 64 age range. They just found a very startling connection. So how to avoid these dangerous phthalates? They're apparently everywhere. Shampoo, takeout, couch cushions, and yes, in fact, even in you. Wait, what? In fact, some studies have shown that nearly every American has traces of chemicals in their body. Yeah, because we also talked about microplastics as well, and just how they're literally in everything that you eat and very much are accounting for a large part of who you are. The good news is there's simple actions that you can take to cut down exposure according to the Environmental Working Group. Start by reading the fine print. If the product lists phthalates, or just a vague catch-all fragrance in their ingredients, it's best to skip it. Be cautious in the kitchen too. Reheating food or beverages in plastic containers that may contain phthalates can cause the chemicals to leach into your meal. You might also want to rethink that trip through the drive-thru. A 2016 study found that fast food lovers had significantly higher phthalate exposure, likely thanks to plastics used in processing and packaging these items. Additionally, smarter shopping makes a difference. Keep an eye out for EWG verified mark when shampoos, cleaners, and even diapers. It means that the product is free of phthalates. So yeah, it's interesting, man. All of these little microplastics, all of these little allergens that are so common in so many things that are just not at all healthy for you, and generally containing things that are not really healthy for you, whether it be little individually wrapped chocolate bars or also, your takeout dishes. It's so funny how they're working overtime at trying to kill you. It's almost like there's a bigger agenda at play. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.